Hey everybody, happy Sunday! It's Michael here from the Vegan Mo's. Ethan is filming. He will be joining us in just a second. Want to welcome you all to the premiere episode of Gay Brunch live on Facebook. Hope you all have some food to eat and some drinks, and we are going to get going in just a second. Today we are doing for our brunch the breakfast sandwich from our book, NYC Vegan, on page 29, our vegan take on the classic New York City breakfast sandwich. So take a look in there. It's got some tofu, it's got bacon from Herbivorous Butcher, which is amazing, and some cheese from Violife on some bread that we picked up at the farmer's market yesterday, if you saw us going live from the farmer's market. And we are just getting ready to get going here. So sit back, relax, have some food, and enjoy. And sorry if I'm looking down at the moment, just want to make sure that we are all there. Nope, you're facing the, you're on, it's backwards.
No, you're on.
This is what happens when you go live, people. Sorry, we are just trying to figure all of this out. Wow, there's this random delay. It's like you disappear, then reappear. So you are there.
I am here.
You are here. There you are.
Hi, everybody. Ethan
Hey.
here.
So welcome to Facebook, our Facebook Live, the Big Gay Brunch.
Yeah, we wanted to do this. We want to take on another thing. We thought about doing this for a couple different reasons, right?
Right.
A lot of you had told us that you like listening to us on the Our Hen House podcast. A lot of you have said that you enjoy seeing us live at events around the book tour.
Cooking demos, etc. So
And people have often hung out with us here at our house, in our apartment, and said like, oh, you guys should totally do a show. And we're like, we don't want to do a show. We don't know anything about doing a show. And this is the truth.
like, oh, when are you guys gonna be on the Food Network?
We don't know anything about doing a show, as is evidenced by the technical issues in starting this right now. So, but what we do know is we know about veganism, we know about animal rights, we know about LGBTQ issues, and we understand how all of these social justice movements intersect with each other. And we know how to cook. That's for sure, right?
Yep,
And
so-
so that's what brunch is about. It's about eating delicious food, having wonderful drinks, and making sure that you cover important topics of conversation, including all the good gossip, and we'll get there.
Yes.
But first, cheers to you.
Cheers to you. And cheers to all of you who are joining us for the first episode.
Thanks for joining us. Yummy.
Yum.
Okay. So, how was your week, Michael?
It was a really good week. There was a lot going on.
You might know or might not know that we work together as well as blog together as well as live together. So there's a lot of togetherness in our life. But people have this idea that like we spend the whole day together at the office, right?
But I'm at the front desk, Ethan's in the back in his office, and most of our communication is through instant messaging, saying, hey, your patient is here, or hey, I need an MRI authorized. And that's the extent of how much we actually see each other during the day.
Yeah, and then when we're coming home, we've got like our life to do. So we don't often have time to sit down and catch up. So weekends are usually a really good time for us to sit down and catch up. So I ask again, how was your week?
It was actually a really, really good week. We ran the giveaway for...
That's right.
Last month we celebrated our 4th anniversary. Not you and I.
No, we're 13 years in. So.
Our Vegan Mo's 4th anniversary. So we did a fabulous 4th anniversary giveaway. It closed yesterday. At the end of the show today, we are going to announce live on Facebook to all the world who won the giveaway. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We had a big weekend of theater, which is not quite done yet.
Not close to done yet.
On Friday night, we drove from Williamsburg to the Jersey Shore.
Asbury Park,
which took us about 2.5 to 3 hours.
Only because it was a Friday.
A lot of
rush
traffic.
hour. It was crazy.
Coming home, really easy. But our good friend Emily Monis, hi Emily.
Hi, Emily.
She is in a production of Fun Home at the Jersey Shore Arts Center, and it was a great production. She totally killed it.
Today is the last performance at 3 p.m. today. Is their last performance, or maybe there's one tonight? No, it's matinee today.
Matinee today. So if you can get down there,
if you can get down there in the next 4 hours, she is totally worth seeing. She's amazing, super talented. Not saying that just because she's our friend.
But also before the show, we went to a restaurant down in Asbury Park called Crust and Crumble. It's a pizza place that has a full complimentary vegan menu alongside their omnivore menu. And when we lived in Jersey and we'd go down to Asbury Park regularly, that was one of our lunch/dinner places, and has a special significance to us because that is where I came out as vegan to Ethan. He had already been vegan for almost 2 years. And we sat down to eat, and Ethan asked me what did I know what I was going to have, and I said, well, I know what I want to get, but I know I'm going to order. I ordered off the vegan menu, and at the end of the meal, I looked at Ethan and said, I'm vegan now. It's been a full 7 days that I had been vegan, so that was where I officially announced it. And Ethan got his...
I got my Vitamix.
This Vitamix.
That's the old joke. So like the old gay joke. I think it was it Ellen DeGeneres who made the joke? It might have been. I don't know. Who said like
she made it popular.
She made it popular. Like, oh hey, if you get someone to go to come out or go gay or whatever, or lesbian,
toaster oven.
You get a free toaster oven. And I'm like, well, let's up that game. If you get someone to go vegan, you get a Vitamix. And so I did actually go and get a Vitamix. And P.S. He uses it all the time.
I use it more than he does. And then yesterday afternoon, we went and saw a matinee of the play Afterglow at the Davenport Theater in the Theater District in Manhattan.
I'm curious, what did you think about it?
I really liked it. It was just 3 people in the entire cast.
The staging was really
interesting. The cast itself is actually changing the sets.
Lots of naked boys.
Lots of nakedness.
So
really interesting take on relationships, polyamory, what happens.
Open relationships, closed relationships, let's trust, fidelity, things like that.
Yeah, so it's really well acted, well produced. It was a great show. And at the beginning there is a lot of nudity, but it's not gratuitous. It actually is necessary and integral to the show.
Yeah.
And then after the beginning scenes, they're clothed for the rest of the show. And then today we have yet more theater happening.
We do, in just about 2.5 hours.
Yep, we are going up to I don't want to screw this up, so I'm going to read it. The Compassion, Arts and Culture and Animals Festival.
Yeah.
Our good friend Michael Herron, who will actually be a guest on the Big Gay Brunch in 2 weeks.
Now you just blew the surprise.
We're announcing who our guests are.
That's true.
He's going to be performing at 1:45 with his string quartet, a piece from his ongoing larger body of work called The Animal Show. If you have not seen The Animal Show, it is truly an amazing production.
And we will be plugging it closer to the date, but mark your calendars now because you can buy tickets. It's at Dixon Place on November 8th and November 9th. Be there.
And then 7:30 tonight, the entire team from Our Hen House, being Jasmine singer Marianne Sullivan, John Frusciante, and Michael Herron, are going to be performing a live reading of Sanctuary. It's a radio play by John Junker. So if you can't get there for Michael's performance at 1:45, go this evening at 7:30 and see the whole crew from Our Hen House.
Sounds good.
And so, how's your week? What was going on?
Yeah, why don't you try the sandwich? Like I'm sitting here eating. Like
what was going on for you this week?
What's going on for me this week? It was a good week. I think it was a pretty good week for me. It was much better than the prior 2 weeks.
What was different?
The sun. The sun was present. It wasn't raining. It was less cold. In complete transparency and honesty, many of you are friends and know this, and those of you who don't, there is absolutely no shame in admitting I have a pretty severe case of seasonal affective disorder. And I've been dealing with it for a number of years, some years more effectively than others, and this year has been particularly challenging. They don't really understand why it hits harder or less significantly, but it's been a really interesting time since I would say like mid-September, which is about a month earlier. This is the time it usually hits. It hit me really early this year, and it feels like, I guess, what people describe as depression. I don't know, I haven't had like clinical depression, so I don't know exactly what that feels like, but it's been pretty severe. You feel like you just kind of just don't want to get out of bed. You can't get going on with your day at any given point for absolutely no reason. You just feel like you want to fall asleep and just check out. And that was happening, unfortunately.
And I will say for me, even though I don't have it to the same level you do,
yeah.
I, for whatever reason, this year, it felt like it just overnight just started getting darker a lot sooner and getting lighter a lot later. Like Usually it seems like it's a more gradual.
Well, I think the thing is our schedule, right? And so our work schedule, we get up usually, I get up at 5:15 in the morning. We go to the gym and do our workout and everything beforehand. And then by the time we're back from the gym and we walk the dogs and we feed the dogs and we get dressed, at this time of year, it's still just starting to get light. And we do a really quick commute to the office. We're lucky that way. And we spend the whole day indoors and we come out and it's dark. So basically most of our waking hours when there's sunlight, we're indoors. And then when we're outdoors, it's dark. So whatever. It was really starting to get to me to a point where I was getting really concerned about what I'm going to be able to do and blah, blah, blah. But this past week of glorious, beautiful, sunshiny, warm, dry, low humidity weather has been incredible. And I'm ready for the rain on Tuesday.
Well, let's be honest about why you like the low humidity weather.
Oh yeah, it's all about the hair. It's all about the hair. And you love the high humidity weather because we're an anti-humidity couple. So
my hair actually tends to work in either. I'm one of those.
Oh,
people.
you've just changed that on live on Facebook. He's been saying forever, I like high humidity.
I prefer it for my hair, but it's not. I don't have the same issues.
Yeah, well, gee, bro. Anyway,
no, the curls grow in.
Yes, that's true. What else has been going on this week? Doing a lot of stuff for Woodstock. For many of you know that I'm on the board of directors at Woodstock Farm Sanctuary, and we have a bunch of really fun things coming up this coming weekend. On Saturday, the 28th? Yeah, 28th, we have Hallow Woodstock, and it's gonna be a really fun event. Lots of just fun craziness, people getting dressed up, coming and spending the day with animals. It's the last visiting day that you can come up there unless you are part of, you're a member of the sanctuary. And if you're a member, then there's like a VIP members only last day on Sunday, the next day, the 29th, where I guess it'll be a little bit less crowded because we won't have all the crowds, it'll be only members, and you'll get to have a really wonderful last day of the visiting season. This is your last chance to hang out with the animals while the season is open, and then things close down for the winter because it starts to get really cold up there and the animals need to be indoors and all that good stuff. And also working on some stuff for Thanksgiving, very exciting. Thanksgiving is the annual celebration of the turkeys, where the turkeys are the guests of honor instead of the
centerpiece.
The fetishized dead centerpiece on the middle of a table of celebration, no less. And so they are, that's coming up, gosh, in just a few more weeks, like 4 weeks, I think it is, 5 weeks, on Saturday.
Are tickets still available?
Tickets are not still available. This thing is the kind of thing that people line up for way in advance, and as soon as they go on sale, people jump and grab them. So unfortunately, if you didn't get your tickets this year, better luck next time. And what else is going on? There's a really fun event coming up this week on Thursday, the 26th. The Coalition for Healthy School Food. They are a really amazing group of people here in New York. They are basically single-handedly trying to get New York City public schools to adopt a vegetarian diet. And when we say vegetarian, we really mean vegan, but there are reasons why they have to say the word vegetarian, but understand it's vegan. And it's a plant-based diet, really. And they're doing their annual thing. It's called Tricks and Treats. Michael and I are absolutely thrilled to be on the host committee for this. It's going to be a really wonderful event. I believe there are still a few tickets available. Don't kill me if I'm wrong, but I think there are. And if you just go to healthyschoolfood.org, you can learn all about the amazing work that they do, and even if you can't make it, you can consider giving a donation. I mean, they are literally intervening on behalf of children in schools to get them off the standard American diet. It's incredible stuff. David Carter is going to be there, 300-pound vegan. Dr. Joel Kahn is going to be there. It's going to be a really fun event. So
and there's always a lot of really good food there.
There's amazing food there, and I think that's the whole point, because delicious food speaks for itself. So. But that's actually what's going on in this coming week, and you asked me what happened. So I don't know, this week was like kind of a lot of work. It's 2 weeks to the marathon.
Yes.
And I had just a ton of like people who shouldn't be running the marathon. Sorry if you're a patient and you're watching this. People who really shouldn't be running the marathon training and doing their 20+ miler runs on the weekend before tapering, and it's like, yikes, how are you going to do 26.2? That's really scary. So I had to pull someone out of the marathon again this week, which is not good. I don't enjoy that. We had dinner.
We did a lot of eating out.
We did a lot of eating out. I think there's going to be maybe like a little bit of a liquid lunch, liquid lunch in my future here. But yeah, we did. We had brunch yesterday with Emily. Mm-hmm. Emily, our friend, who also is one of the nurses at my surgery center. She's
not
awesome.
the Emily who we saw on the play.
Different Emily. We had two Emilys this weekend. And we were eating over at Urban Vegan Kitchen for brunch. I highly recommend their brunch. It's incredible. And then last night we hung out with our friend Kat. Hi Kat, if you're watching this.
Hey Kat.
Kat Moss Mendenhall. She's Kat Mendenhall Boots. She's the vegan cowboy boot lady. Amazing. And she's in town for a couple weeks. And so we had dinner at Modern Love, which is always delicious. Really incredible food there. And I don't know, that was my week. Yeah, I don't know. So what's going on what else? What should we talk about?
We're putting the Mo's back in Mo's.
We are.
This year. So for those of you who do not know, and yes, there are still people who don't, Mo's stands for homos.
Yes, we're gay.
We're gay. We're married and gay. So, sorry, Middle America,
Hashtag we're not brothers. So.
Oh, we used to get asked that all the time.
Are you brothers?
Are you guys brothers?
And I'd be like, are you blind? Yeah, anyway.
So, what's going on in the gay world?
Well, what's going on in the gay world? Lots of gay things.
Yeah.
There was a single news item that I want to talk about because I am pissed. Right?
Oh yeah.
Are you pissed?
I'm not pissed. I'm frightened.
I'm not frightened. I'm enraged.
Mm-hmm.
What are we upset about? I'm pulling up the article here because I want to actually quote her directly. So, Betsy Price. Betsy Price is, she's a special kind of gal. Betsy Price is a state representative from Georgia, from Alpharetta in northern, sort of suburbs of northern Atlanta. She made a comment. She made a comment which she's now backtracking and saying, oh, it was totally taken out of context. But asking about what to do about the spread of HIV, which is a very legitimate concern for all of us and all of our public health issues, public health advisors, our politicians, our lawmakers to be thinking about and attacking in a strategic and scientific way. She basically said, quote, I don't want to say the word quarantine, but I guess I just said it. She's literally suggesting that maybe we quarantine people who have HIV, and that's a way to get us to stop spreading HIV. She is from a very conservative and Republican-leaning district in Georgia, so this is not exactly something that we wouldn't expect from that part of the country necessarily. And I think of this kind of HIV discussion as being a dog whistle for anti-gay, homophobic, and specifically anti-gay men sort of sentiments. It's been around since the 1980s, and even though the vast majority of people on this planet, and certainly in this country of HIV, are not gay men, it is still a political dog whistle. And this was, pardon the non-vegan metaphor, some political red meat to her base. Basically saying that, oh, well, what do we do about this? How would we stop the spread? She said, quote, well, I would guess that public dollars are expended heavily in prophylaxis and treatment of this condition. And so we have interest in curtailing the spread. Are there any methods that legally we could do to curtail that spread? Yeah, you could legally make PrEP available to everyone at no cost. Now, for those of you who don't know what PrEP is, P-R-E-P, you should Google this. PrEP is a mnemonic that means pre-exposure prophylaxis. It is a takeoff on what used to be PEP, meaning like when I was in my residency and you get a needle stick maybe, or you get stabbed by some instrument in surgery, maybe the patient is of unknown HIV status or known to be HIV positive. The prophylaxis against you becoming infected potentially was to take something called PEP, P-E-P, post-exposure prophylaxis. And so in doing that, the idea was that like, oh yeah, you could really like kill the virus before it sort of takes hold in your immune system, whatnot, showed out to be a very effective way of dealing with things. And years later, decades later, because that's how long I've been doing this, they have Truvada. It's a once-a-day pill made by Gilead Pharmaceuticals, and it has been shown to be overwhelmingly high 90s%, if not 100% in some studies, effective in blocking the transmission of HIV from known HIV people to non-HIV infected individuals, and there is almost no positive to negative transmission, seroconversion, and it's really, really good, and it should be a public health initiative, and this is what our politicians should be talking about, except then their crazy rabid base probably thinks, oh, but then you're encouraging sex. Well, people are having sex anyway, and so sex education works, abstinence doesn't. And it's the same thing with this, like telling everyone to use a condom would be great if everyone used a condom. Not everyone uses a condom. But if everyone used PrEP, or everyone who didn't have an allergic reaction or could potentially take PrEP took it, we could probably wipe out new infections and new transmissions by such a large percentage, it would be overwhelming. Talk about a stimulus plan. Talk about a public health initiative. So if you're really looking about heavily spended public dollars, that would be...
And because they're doing that in Australia, aren't they?
They're doing it in Australia. They're doing it in a lot of other countries, actually. They're doing it in African countries where they're really most affected by this. And, one of the other things I think that's really, just to put it in context, because people often say, oh, well, it's political. It is political. I mean, let's talk about who she is for a second. She's Betsy Price. She grew up, went to high school in Cocoa Beach, Florida. We're not talking like she's out on a farm, picking her teeth with straw. This is somebody who's educated. She went to McGill University for med school up in Montreal. She lived in a big, major city, went to a major university. She became an anesthesiologist, the people who sedate you for surgery.
You'd want to be up on current
You'd want to be up
medicine.
on current everything. Her husband, as of 3 weeks and 2 days ago, was the director of Health and Human Services, Tom Price, also a doctor, orthopedic surgeon, went to undergrad at U of M, Ann Arbor, where I was born.
Orthopedic surgeon, that reminds me, tell your joke.
All right. This is such a stupid joke. What's the difference between God and an orthopedic surgeon?
I don't know, what is the difference between God and an orthopedic surgeon?
God doesn't think he's an orthopedic surgeon.
Wah, wah.
Anyway, that is in seriousness. In seriousness, though, he's an educated guy. Went to Emory University for his medical school training, practiced down there in private practice until over 10 years ago. He went and became a conservative member of the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives. So you're talking about people who are educated. You're talking about people who are educated in medicine, who are now out there and promoting this kind of quackery, total witchcraft crackery craziness. And it is all for a political purpose of trying to otherize, alienate people with HIV, specifically gay people with HIV. That is what this is about. They're not trying to attack, they don't want to quarantine little, 8-year-old kids with HIV. That's not what they're talking about. They're trying to go after gay men. And it's disgusting.
Do you think it's specifically gay men they're targeting, or is it gay men and African Americans?
Sure.
Because those seem to be it's definitely on a rise more in the African American community than in the gay community nowadays.
Well, that's an added bonus, right? It's wow, we can attack gay men and people of color at the same time. Anyway, you should write to your local congressperson. You should write letters. You should share this information out there and explain to people that there is actually a way that we can curtail, and that certain places like New York City, where we are being proactive about this and where we are making PrEP available and where doctors are actually educated on ways to stop the transmission of this virus within their patient populations, this is something that actually works. So please, by all means. What else went on in LGBT news this week?
Other LGBT news. She should eat now.
I'm gonna eat.
So, as I hope you all are aware, Will and Grace is back on the air, back on Thursday nights where it belongs on NBC at 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. And this reboot has been, it's just as good, if not better, than the original series. And they kind of did a whole St. Elsewhere thing where it's oh, the series finale never actually happened. And
But it was funny.
It was funny the way they did it.
Really funny.
But recently I've seen a couple articles floating around online from people who are really upset at this reboot for not tackling issues. And I know, it's been 4 episodes, people. And they actually start going back to the original series when it first aired in 1997, if you can believe that.
Wow, 20
Yeah.
years ago.
20 years ago, it was groundbreaking because you had out gay men as a lead and a supporting character on the show. And people are now criticizing it, saying they didn't talk about HIV and AIDS on the show. And Will and Jack were kind of the safe gays. They were gay, they would talk about dating, but we never actually really saw them in romantic situations. Even when they were dating someone, it was still very staid. There was not much intimacy shown between the characters. And this was 1997.
Well, yeah, that's the point.
Had they actually gone that step, the show might not have been as popular, had the following that it had. And so this way, they were able to get gay out front, being seen as normal, because guess what? It is normal. So people I know were just really upset about, they didn't talk about HIV and AIDS. Let's fast forward to the reboot. On the 3rd episode, I believe it was, Will was going on a date with
A millennial.
Sorry, millennials, but you know this is true. And Will actually has to sit down and have a little gay education course with him, and now people are jumping in and saying they didn't talk about PrEP.
I mean, okay, wait a second. And we just had a whole discussion about PrEP. Might that have been a missed opportunity? Perhaps. You can't make this thing all informational or it's going to get boring.
And also, we saw Will start the conversation and then fade to black, comes back at the end of it. We don't necessarily know what they talked about. So let's give them a little slack here. And also, again, they're only 4 episodes in. However, this most recent episode, they handled the issue of gay conversion camps. It was done with such heart and humor.
It was a really fine...
They really wove it really well. And they sort of touched on it in the original broadcasting of the show, with Neil Patrick Harris running a group for gay men who wanted to change themselves. And it was done as a big joke. But this was about the camps that parents will send their kids to help them become straight, because being gay is wrong and bad. Whole premise of the show is Jack's grandson. Yes, Jack is a grandfather. Grandpa Jack. His grandson comes, sees him, and the kid is definitely gay.
And his parents know it,
so they're taking him to Camp Straight and Narrow. Get it? Straight and Narrow? And Jack and Will go up to the camp to rescue Skip. And there's a really heartfelt scene where Skip and Jack are talking, and Skip has first said his parents are sending him there because, to be fixed. And Jack immediately stops him and says, "You don't need to be fixed. You are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you."
It's really sweet.
And then Jack tells him, and don't worry about what's going on now. It gets better. To which Skip immediately replies with the question that I always had when the whole It Gets Better campaign started. And that was started by Dan Savage.
Yeah, it was about 7 years ago.
Yeah, to help prevent bullying and just to let gay kids know it does get better. Skip replies with, "But how?" And I don't want to screw this quote up because it was really sweet the way Jack said it. So Jack responds with, "When you get older, you'll understand that there's the family you were born into and the family that you choose. And the family I chose, it doesn't get better."
He's such a mush. All right.
So
with my mouth full.
So I think Will and Grace really need to be lauded for what they're doing. They really handled this issue so beautifully.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing, the old criticism, it's easy to look back 20 years and say,
you didn't do enough
in 1997. Can we just put one landmark in history here? 1997 was the year that Ellen DeGeneres came out as lesbian. And that, for most people who are aware of the evolution of LGBT rights and awareness in the United States of America, think about it. it was 13 years after that that the first state well, no, it wasn't 13 years later, sorry. It was like 7 years later that the first state passed marriage equality. So like Ellen DeGeneres coming out was a big America, like, whoa, like, wow, even though we're all like, duh. It was a really interesting moment for her coming out on her show. I mean, this was all new territory. Will and Grace was groundbreaking, largely because it was a show that featured gay protagonists living a very, very honest representation, if not privileged and white, of their life in New York. It was, I don't know, I think you're gonna find a critic for everything.
Always.
And don't read the comments.
Yeah, but so just from us, we want to say Will and Grace, well done.
You're totally doing it. What's next?
So we can go to the first part of our name, vegan. Talk about what's happening, some animal rights news. Since your mouth is full.
It's not full.
Okay.
My mouth is not full. I wanted to talk about, what did I want to talk about? Yeah, it's not there. But I wanted to talk about a study that came out from PCRM, which was kind of interesting. They had, don't want to screw this up, and we definitely screwed that up. Sorry about that, guys. PCRM, first of all, they won the Veg News Award for Best Nonprofit, so congratulations to our friends at PCRM. We love them. We think they do amazing work, and if you're not familiar with who they are, PCRM is the Physicians Committee for Responsible Medicine. If you go to pcrm.org, you can learn all about them. There was a study that was published by the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association, and it revealed, get ready for this, that American doctors, most medical students, receive inadequate nutrition information in education. Imagine that. I can share you stories about the stuff that I was taught about nutrition in school. It's sort of a joke. In this study, researchers quizzed 257 osteopathic medical students based on their knowledge about like just basic nutrition. We're not talking advanced stuff like plant-based diet or things that people might actually really want to change the world, change their patients' lives with. Just basic nutrition, like, do you know, like, I don't know what the basic parameters, like how many calories should you be having a day? How many should be coming from carbohydrates? How many should be coming from fat? Like basic stuff. And they found that their knowledge of basic, this was great, self-rated of the students who were surveyed, they all felt that they had a really strong grasp. So like they felt that they really had a strong grasp on this, and then we found that not even 50% of them passed this test. So we have a nutrition problem in this country, people, and if you're going to a doctor and saying, how do I eat healthy, unless your doctor has done some serious self-education, that's a problem. And less than 12% of these students, 12%, that's like just about 1 in 10 of them, didn't know what the references on dietary intakes are. They didn't know what they were relative to patient needs. So we've long known, folks like me and all the good folks over at PCRM who are out there trying to get people to educate themselves about real nutrition and scientific and evidence-based nutrition. It's just shocking that like it's 2017 and medical students still don't get it. And yet this is all Western medicine, right? Mm-hmm. And the father of Western medicine, as he's called, Hippocrates, famously said, "Let thy medicine be thy food, and thy food be thy medicine," which means if our food is our medicine, these doctors don't know anything about medicine. Putting that out there. There was also 2 really fun little bits of news that came out this week. One of them here in New York, Governor Cuomo, he banned the use of elephants in circuses and other entertainment acts. The law, unfortunately, will not go into effect immediately. I have no idea why, because Ringling Brothers is out of business. But it goes into effect in 2019. So you can still get your animal abuse in the next 12 months if you want to like...
But that's just elephants. You can
well, you can abuse animals anywhere. Don't worry. There's the Animal Welfare Act. It doesn't protect anyone. But you can really... this is a huge step for a major state like New York and our governor coming out and taking a forceful position about this. And in his quotes, which I'm not going to read, he basically was saying things like, this is not even anything educational about an elephant. These are unnatural acts that they're asked to perform. And of course, there's the cruelty angle in how these animals are taught to do these acts. And another story about animal abusers, good old SeaWorld. Remember SeaWorld? The ocean rapers and family destroyers? They had to lay off 350 workers this week. I feel for the workers.
Absolutely.
Get another job. You're working at a prison where the convicts are completely innocent. And they said that their attendance since this time last year, first half of 2017 compared to the first half of 2016, was down by 350,000 attendees. Keep it up.
Wow,
this has been a
amazing.
steady decline in SeaWorld ever since that sort of blockbuster film called Blackfish came out in 2013. If you haven't seen Blackfish, I strongly recommend that you Netflix it. This is not just about breaking up orcas, who are extremely social, intelligent animals with incredible family structures, and breaking up families, which most animal agriculture and animal use does. But specifically, Blackfish is a really, really important film about how the people who are charged with the work of handling these animals are endangered, and in the case of SeaWorld, killed. Really, really important.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
So, other animal rights news out of California.
We love California.
Yes, last Friday the 13th, was actually a very lucky day for cats and dogs and bunnies in California, because Governor Jerry Brown, Rock on Jerry, signed into law Bill AB 485, making it illegal for pet stores to sell dogs, cats, and rabbits from any source other than a shelter or rescue group. The law goes into effect in 2019. Again, why they can't just say, okay, sorry, gotta start now, but at least starting in 2019. So private breeders, however, can still sell their animals, but puppy mills can no longer be supplying pet stores. So that's actually huge.
That is huge.
And there are also 36 cities in California, including LA, San Diego, San Francisco. They already had bans on mass breeding operations, and I think this whole thing actually started with West Hollywood 2 years ago.
Where the gays banned it.
Where the gays got together, because if there's one thing gays do, it's they love their companion animals.
Yep, we sure do.
So California is leading the way. So I did a little research into that to find out what is happening in New York. In New York City, the law restricts pet stores to only sell dogs from breeders licensed by the USDA, who also comply with the Animal Welfare Act, or dogs obtained from shelters or rescues.
Right.
It sounds great.
It's not.
Here's the catch. This relies on the USDA database of animal abusers and making sure everyone is licensed. Unfortunately, the Trump administration has restricted access to the database, so animal rights violators, they may be put on this list, but the public can't actually access it.
Yep.
Law enforcement, the people charged with enforcing the law can't access this.
This is what happens when you shut your government down from within.
So there is a law in the books, but it's almost impossible to enforce. Thank you, President Trump, and your lovely administration. But
anyway,
little happy news, though, out of New York as well.
Yes, really happy news.
There was, earlier this week, there was a calf who ran from a slaughterhouse in Brooklyn. Yes, there are actually slaughterhouses all throughout Brooklyn.
All over.
He escaped, ran through Prospect Park, and he was they got him in a penned area, I guess. It looked like a baseball field or something from what I was seeing that was all fenced. And the police came, they did shoot him with a tranquilizer. He is fine. But Mike Stura from Skylands Animal Sanctuary and Rescue heard about this. He was immediately in touch with Animal Control here in New York, and the police saying, I am on my way, I will get this calf. He drove up, got the calf from the Animal Control Center, and his name is now Shankar, and he is now going to get to live out his life at Skylands Farm Sanctuary, just being free to grow up and be the mature bull and live a great life with alfalfa and hay and other cows to play with. And
And the humans will be giving him loving kisses as
Yes.
opposed to shooting him with tranquilizer guns or possibly slitting his neck open.
And what's amazing is, I mean, Twitter and the whole interwebs were all filled with people like cheering on, wanting this cow to be rescued. So people are actually, when you see these situations, people are like, yes, he's got to be saved. And they don't then think about, but he's the exact same cow you're going to then go have between two pieces of meat.
But that's the way it always happens. Like, remember when Mike Jr., named also for Mike Stura, who is one of the cows that was living out his life in sanctuary up at Woodstock Farm Sanctuary, he escaped from a slaughterhouse near where we were living in New Jersey at the time.
Yep.
And like he was running, I remember like he was running on one of the highways and people were like, oh my God, save this cow. And then like they took him and they were gonna bring him back to the slaughterhouse and everyone went nuts. And Mike was able to, again, save this cow and bring him up to Woodstock at the time. And like, it's so amazing how people, our natural inherent sense of empathy.
They want
we
these
want these animals to live. They want them to like not go back to this horrible death. And yet they mindlessly go off and order lunch and have a total disconnect between what's on my plate and rooting legitimately for this underdog.
I don't want the animal going to the slaughterhouse. That's horrible. But I don't mind going to the store and then picking up his
pieces of him. Exactly. Yeah, it's a really interesting.
There's an amazing disconnect.
It's a cognitive dissonance thing, for sure.
But also, but as our friend Annie Hudson pointed out on Facebook the other day, there's a great comment that she said, we continually see stories about animals escaping from slaughterhouses. We never see them running away from sanctuaries.
Imagine that.
Think about it.
All right, so we want to go into a section that will hopefully become a recurring section of this show. I promise the show won't be going on that much longer. It's called The Favorite Five. And these are 5 questions that we want to ask everyone who's a guest on our show. So if you're a future guest and you're going to be on our show and you know this, you might want to like start thinking about your answers. Just saying.
Kind of like James Lipton's 20 questions, but not because these are our questions.
And these are definitely like gay and vegan. So, should I ask you or should you ask me?
You can. I will be the interviewee first, so you can.
Okay. What's your favorite film?
Still Shirley Valentine. Has been for years and years and years. If you have not seen it, it started out as a one-woman show off Broadway starring Paulette Collins.
I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Paulette Collins. And it was just this woman who kind of reclaims her own lost identity from having been a single woman to then being the wife, then being the mom, and being the homemaker. She got lost along the way, and it's about rediscovering your own identity as a person.
It was the film before How Stella Got Her Groove Back, but like white British lady version, basically.
So if you haven't seen, and Joanna Lumley, also known as Patsy,
from AdFab,
she's in it. Marjorie Majors, great role. Anyway, go see it. It's a really fun movie.
It is really fun. Okay, question 2. What is your favorite vegan condiment?
Ketchup.
Okay. All right.
But has to be Heinz.
It has to be.
It can only be Heinz. I'm sorry, I know there are other brands of ketchup out there, but let's face it.
No, and see, and
Heinz.
And I don't know, I can't see the phone. If my mom's watching, my dad's watching, I did well, right? I did real well.
It's a big. They have not tuned in yet.
Okay, that's good. They'll probably watch it later because it's a Sunday and my mom's working. But Heinz is a really, really, really big deal in my family. Like even to the point that like other things will be thrown out of the house if they come in. At my cousin Jason's bar mitzvah, they took Heinz 57 bottles and they relabeled it Cement Family Ketchup. It's really messed up. Anyway, okay, who is your favorite gay vegan celebrity?
Shameless plug. Alan Cumming.
He's pretty awesome.
He is pretty awesome. He wrote the foreword to our cookbook, NYC Vegan.
Yeah, we love Alan.
So, Alan, thank you.
Next question, what is your favorite gay destination city?
That one I'm actually having trouble with because...
Commit.
Oh. I'm going to go with West Hollywood.
West Hollywood. Good
shopping, good bars, and they have rainbow sidewalks. Rainbow crosswalks. So
yeah, it's a super great place.
Unlike Chelsea or Greenwich Village, which were gay neighborhoods, in New York City, the neighborhood keeps moving and moving and moving.
And sort of diluting and diluting.
Yeah, whereas West Hollywood has stayed very much a neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
And so I enjoy that when we go there.
Yeah, no, it's true. Actually, I remember speaking to somebody once about a professional colleague. And I was like, oh, where does he live? And like, oh, he also lives, because he worked in West Hollywood. And they go, oh yeah, he lives in West Hollywood. He's not gay though. I was like, wow, a straight man who lives in West Hollywood. It's kind of fun. Okay, and last question: what is your favorite vegan destination city?
Portland, Oregon.
Interesting.
I mean, they have homegrown smokers.
They do. They really do.
And herbivore clothing.
They do.
And I mean, you could literally just non-stop eat there. So
we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I give snaps out to Portland. So for you, what is your favorite film?
So like, this is a really hard question for me because I don't actually
Just have... ask you, what is your favorite music?
What's my favorite fruit? Well, that's easy. It's an apple. But like, what's your favorite? A Honeycrisp, organic Honeycrisp from Washington State.
Commit.
Yeah, so I would have to say across all genres and across all time, the movie that has stuck with me the most in my life is probably The Wizard of Oz.
You are so gay.
I am. But it's a musical, and it's hopeful, and it's empowering, and it's political, and it's everything. And it's Jimmy Garland. Yeah.
Uh-huh. What is your favorite vegan condiment?
My favorite vegan condiment. I gotta be honest, I don't really eat a lot.
We don't do a lot that requires
I don't do a lot of condiments, and it's not because they're not delicious, because when they're served, I love them. I don't really eat them very much. I didn't grow up that way, but I would have to say probably all across the board, it would be Veganaise. I like them because I like mayo, and excuse me, and I like the ethics of this company. I love everything about them.
Well, interestingly enough, about a little sidetrack here. So there's a podcast, Stuff You Should Know, and they had a whole episode on ketchup, and they were listing what are the most popular condiments around the world. Mayo is the #1 condiment. Ketchup is, I think, #4 on the list.
Well,
anyway,
then I'm more popular.
Who is your favorite gay vegan celebrity?
Who's my favorite gay vegan celebrity? It's the same as yours. It's Alan Cumming. I mean, he's everything. He is a fierce advocate for animals. He is a fierce advocate for humans, for LGBTQ rights. He is just... And I should put it out there, he is technically not a gay vegan celebrity. He is a bisexual vegan celebrity. He is very open about the fact that he is bi. I believe before he was married to his husband Grant, he was married, I forget to whom, but to a woman. Yeah, he's openly bisexual, which is the B in LGBTQ.
So when we're saying gay vegan celebrity,
we're
using
LGBTQ,
gay as the catch-all.
Which we shouldn't. It should be LGBTQ. Sorry about that. Yeah.
So what is your favorite gay destination city?
So it's not necessarily like a destination city for me, but it's New York City. I think that New York City is hands down the best gay destination city. And I don't care that we don't have a centralized like gayborhood anymore. I think we have just the best of everything. We have great clubs, we have great bars, we have great people. New Yorkers are the greatest people in the world. We have by far a disproportional number of attractive people in the city.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, you go into a bar in New York and it's different than a bar anywhere else. You go into a club in New York, it is different.
We've definitely noticed that when we've gone out, when we let ourselves go out dancing at night.
It's just more attractive here, and that's just a superficial thing. But I think that I think we've got a great gay community here. We have a community of activists here. And Stonewall started here. This is the birthplace of the American LGBTQ revolution.
What is your favorite vegan destination city?
I'm gonna have to go with New York again. I think that New York, even though it's again not a destination for me, it's home. I think we've got the best vegan restaurants. I think we have high end, we've got low end. We could use a little help here, like in the middle range, if you're watching Veggie Grill.
Veggie Grill, if you're watching.
Real Food Daily, Native Foods. We'd love to have you here. There's a spot across the street. Call us. We're happy to put you in touch with them.
We'll do an introduction. We'll find out who.
But seriously, it's like we have Mooshoes, we have Orchard Grocer and Haymakers. We've got a vegan diner. We got another vegan diner opening up. Robbie DeRossi, all of his restaurants.
He's opening a 24-hour vegan diner.
It's crazy. Yeah. Like we have everything. It's an embarrassment of riches here in New York. This is a great place to be vegan. It's a great place to be gay. It's a great place to be. Period.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
this Normally, we'd be sort of wrapping things up here. We'll probably, see, we can't really look at the camera and at the same time read your questions. So unfortunately, this is not going to be a very interactive Facebook Live show, but what we will do is we will go at the end of the show, read it. If anyone asked any questions here, we will definitely answer them next week in our little mailbag section, which would happen here. If you have questions after the show, and then maybe you're watching this on YouTube or something like that on a rebroadcast, feel free to email us. You can email us at
biggaybrunch@veganmos.com.
Yeah, we'll flash that up here. It's biggaybrunch@veganmos, veganmos.com, and
We'll
answer your questions next week or at the next episode. Speaking of which,
So since we don't have questions yet for this week, we're gonna fill this little gap. We are going to announce the winner of our fabulous 4th anniversary giveaway.
yeah, we're using this thing called Rafflecopter.
Rafflecopter.
Let's just show everybody so they understand that this is truly legit here. We had almost 900 entries into this, so let's check it out here. Let me see if I can zoom in. Sorry, the camera's gonna bump, guys. And go for it, Michael.
So you can see it's highlighting add a random winner. Doo-doo-doo. There you are. Jean Friedman. Let's block out her email address so the world does not see her.
I'll pull back. Jean Friedman. Okay.
So congratulations, Jean. I will be shooting you an email to get all of your contact information so we can send you your fabulous 4th anniversary gift package. And let's show you what it is you are going to win. I feel like Vanna White now.
Yeah, seriously, Vanna.
So 1 copy of NYC Vegan signed by us to you. The Cheese Trap by Dr. Neil Barnard. Always Too Much and Never Enough by Jasmine Singer. And just this whole stack of cookbooks. You're going to win soy curls, soy cold jerky, and taco crumbles, all from Butler Foods. Smarties, one of our favorite candies, and our friend Liz D owns the company, or is one of the presidents of the company, as well as 3 reusable shopping tote bags. So congratulations, we're going to get all of this out in mail to you in the next couple of days when I get your address from you. And so now, we're wrapping up, we're going to finish eating, but we hope you will come back next week when we will have our first guests.
Yes, our first
live
guests.
in the studio.
We're really excited about these guys. They're our friends. They're such amazing activists and just the sweetest couple in the world.
They really are. They're adorable.
They're adorable. I mean, their wedding was absolutely one of the most beautiful things. Really beautiful. They're Joshua Catcher and James Caroni. And Joshua, you may know from Brave Gentleman. He has this amazing fashion line. I have at least half
many of his shoes.
I'm a shoe freak, and he makes beautiful vegan shoes that are ethical, sustainable, fair labor. He's going to tell you all about this stuff. I think they're on their way back from England right now. They're in Germany and England.
Because we want to talk to them about Germany because we're thinking about going next year.
Yeah, so should have a really fun time. James is this incredible dancer.
Amazing dancer.
And we want to just hear what's up with them. So tune in next week. It will be on Sunday, the 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern. And this is the end of our first episode. So thank you guys
all
so
who
much.
joined. We hope you enjoyed it. Send us your feedback, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.